Hi, I'm Tatum McCann. This is BILYouth, and I'm here interviewing Reichart von Wolfsheild, and he's on a robot, so that's pretty cool. So just tell me, you are one of the founders of BIL. Like, where did you get this idea?
The BIL Unconference actually has a really strange origin. It really started with a drunken evening, which I wasn't even part of. And a few guys got together and they were talking about this TED conference, and they really wanted to go, but it was super expensive. It was by invite only. They were kind of thinking about crashing it because they knew a lot of people that were going to be there. And then one of my friends who had been at that evening adventure had come over to my house and were spending a few days with me. We were sort of just talking about this idea of going up to Monterey. And as he described it, I said, well, who were the original guys? He said, well, this guy named Cody, this guy named Bill. And it just, the moment he said Bill, I went, oh, that's funny, like Bill and Ted's Excellence Adventure. And we kind of just dropped it for a second. And as he began describing it to me, that name sort of came back to us. It was like, oh, that's interesting. We can actually just call it that, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. And it had no other meaning at that point for us, but he had sort of blasted out that he was planning to do this to a bunch of his friends on email. And very quickly, and I mean 24 hours later, sort of a group formed. And this wasn't necessarily something I was personally interested in doing. I'm not going to go crash anything. In fact, I'd been asked to speak at TED at one point, and one of my friends, who became my co-host on Invention USA, he was speaking that year at TED. That's Dr. Garrett Lisi. And so I called a few of my friends, asked about what sort of was going on with TED and what they were doing. And then it was sort of an interesting issue because a few days later, we were now doubled again. We were like at 20 people or something. It was like, wait, there's a whole bunch of people who are going to get together. And it was partially because of the geography. TED was in Monterey that year, and so we had a group of people in Los Angeles, another group of people up in the Bay Area. And so they're like, yeah, hey, we haven't seen each other for a while, we'll all get together. And it wasn't so much now about crashing Bill, or crashing TED. It was more about us just all getting together and seeing each other and seeing some of our friends who were going to be there anyways. And so it sort of became sort of a caravan thing. But within a week, it had doubled again. And then this was only like 10 days off, so it had grown very quickly. It had gone from like 3 or 4 people, and suddenly it was now a large group. And then it was the idea, we may need to get a space for all of our friends just to have a party. And so Todd Huffman, who was one of the other co-founders, he arranged, he called up there. Of course, nothing was available because Ted had taken almost everything. Of course, he thinks outside the box. He's like, well, there's a park, and they have park services. And so he acquires the buildings in the park. And the building's able to handle hundreds of people. So we just grab it, and they're like, cool, that's fine, it's extra money to them. And so it was like, well, we're not going to put some in our pocket. We'll just ask everyone to donate a few dollars and throw in some food and everything. But within days of the actual event, we were already at several hundred people, friends of ours coming in. We had no idea what it was actually going to be. We didn't have a logo or a name or anything. The word Bill hadn't been applied quite yet. It was just us joking around about it. So there was this caravan from all these locations. People came in from Arizona, from Marin County, from San Diego. They were driving in from everywhere. And it was a very strange thing because we put the word out as sort of what we wanted. And a lot of our friends are professionals. So we said we needed bandwidth, we needed some people videotaping, some audio equipment. But when we got there, like at 7 in the morning, there was a professional crew sitting there. And they were just guys that wanted to help out. They just wanted to, see what they could do. And one group that were some of the original engineers from Cisco, they brought dishes and were now sucking bandwidth from the local hotels, which they had hacked the evening before. So this thing had just grown at every level. We were online, we were doing real-time video feeds because 2 different groups that do real-time video feeds showed up and said, this sounded interesting, they're gonna come. And so now we're at like, I don't know, 220, 230 in numbers of people, and it basically happened just within moments. And it just was a magical moment in time. So that's the basis of how it got started. And of course, later we look back and went, that name Bill, T-E-D, B-I-L. So B-I-L doesn't have any actual meaning. And that's actually part of what makes it great. As an unconference, it has no meaning. You apply the meaning. Every single part of Bill is by donation, by what people are willing to do at any given moment. But the key or underlying aspect is creativity and making things.
All right, well, that was awesome. That's super interesting. Just one more question. So you are on a robot right now, on the Beam robot.
Yes.
What is that like? Like, how would you describe your experience?
The game robot was first, I think, shown on television on The Big Bang Theory. That was the prototype for it. I did a show for Raw Science TV, which we used the robot as well. We had somebody from the Netherlands come in. So I was on the other side of it last time. Like yourself, I was interviewing somebody on the robot, and it worked really well. They caught on instantly. This is actually great. I hear you perfectly. The quality, this is quite a bit better than the other communication systems out there. This isn't just like somebody put Skype or Hangouts onto a robot. This is all custom hardware, software. It's balancing the video and the audio. And even right here, we know we have a low bandwidth right this moment, and it's doing a pretty good job. I see you guys crystal clear. I can turn the robot left and right, or I'll turn it a little bit right now. Click into that window. So I can actually control where the robot is and what it's doing. I can look at my feet, like I can see somebody put little fuzzy slippers on my feet, which is common because when I physically go to Bill's, I often wear fuzzy slippers. That was actually a really cute joke. But yeah, it's amazingly easy to control, and basically I can jump into it. So I can leave this, and somebody else from somewhere else in the world can jump in and see Bill.
Well, that's incredible. This is so interesting. And yeah, they are koalas, fuzzy slippers on your BILYouth robot right now. Well, thank you for talking to us.
Stupidest animal on the planet.
But they're cute.
They are damn cute. That is hand in hand with being the stupidest animal on the planet. Really, they've got the smallest brain to body weight ratio. I just happen to know that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for talking with us. It was a pleasure. This is Tatum McCann with BILYouth, signing off.